Welcome to this presentation on surveys, and we're going to look at two different surveys, and they are called interviews and correlation. We have two main categories of research types. They are non-experimental on the left side, this side, and we have experimental on the right side. For non-experimental, we have descriptive, which describes a phenomenon. We have historical, which looks at the past and compares it with today. We have correlation, which takes two variables and compare them. And we have qualitative, which researches how human behaves. And then on the right side, we have the experimental parts. So we are going to focus a bit on correlation and qualitative research, because when we talk about surveys, this is what we are interested in. So today's topic was surveys, interviews and correlation, and interviews are qualitative research. Let's just look at the non-experimental qualitative research type. So it examines human behaviors and context of which it occurs. It can be current time frame, we are now, or we can go to the past. We have low to medium degree of control of factors, and we typically think of case studies, evaluation, ethnography, historical research and surveys. And this presentation is about surveys, and this is why qualitative research is important. One type of survey is an interview, and we should always start an interview with a face sheet information, and this is something that the participant need to fill in, and they should be easy for the participant to fill in. So we will ask for something like age, living arrangements, their gender, etc. So how old are you, or when was you born? Are you living alone? Are you living with someone? What is your gender? So easy questions. That's a good thing to warm up with. And we can either have structured or unstructured questions, and structured questions are something that we get data that we can put into Excel for a lot of participants and do some graphs from. So an example is, at what age did you start smoking? This we will get unstructured data, for example 18 years old. On the other hand, we have unstructured questions. Why did you start smoking? And we cannot put all these answers into Excel, so they are unstructured. Unstructured questions will get a lot of good feedback on, so you should use a mix of structured and unstructured questions in an interview. And if you don't get a good reply on your unstructured question, then you should try to ask it on another method. Follow-up questions. You ask a question, you don't get the answer that you want. Okay, you follow up. Maybe you need to rephrase your question. Maybe it was too difficult for the participant to understand what you were asking. So if you ask, why did you start smoking? And the participant says, I don't know. Then you can follow up with a new question. What made you start smoking? Or tell me about your smoking experience. So you need to rephrase the question. The positives of interviews are that you get in-depth information. But the negative side is that it takes time. It takes a lot of time to do interviews. But however, we do got like computers now, so we can do interviews on, for example, Teams or Zoom. Okay, there are 10 commands of interviews. This should be followed. Number 1, do warm-up. A warm-up is the easy questions. For example, age. And also you can, if you are meeting the interviewer, you can talk a bit of the weather, just ask if they're comfortable, if they need something, do they need coffee, all these things. But warm-up is also about doing easy questions at the start. What is your age? Where do you live? What are your living conditions? These type of easy questions. Number 2 is that we are here to get information. The third command is to be direct. We don't want to like go around the table. We just want information, so be direct on your questions. The fourth command is dress appropriately. So don't go in a hoodie and sweatpants. Take a shirt and real pants, so that will be then you will look much better. Use shoes without holes in them. Number 5 is quiet place, no distractions. So we don't want any distractions, and you want the interviewer and the interviewed to feel comfortable. So no phones, no appointment that they have to catch. You can ask them, is there something you have to catch? If there is, yes. Okay, make room for it. But do have some quiet place, don't have any distractions. If the interviewer don't understand the questions, then rephrase it so you get an answer. This is allowed, of course. You need an answer for your questions. And you should record your interview. Everyone has this smartphone. Just use the recorder and record the interview. Save it as an MP3 file. Put it on your OneDrive or your Google Disk, whatever you use as cloud. Put the interview there so you can listen to it again. And 8, make participants feel important. Of course, they should feel important. They are what you are researching on. Explain to them why their research is important and why their participants is important for your research. What do they gain from it? What do the society gain from it? Number 9 is practice. And how to practice? Well, use your family member. Use them as your interview situation. Ask your brother or your sister to sit down and do a test interview on them. Use everything as you would in normal. Use your recorder, take your notes, do the warm-up, get the basic information, be direct, have good clothes, dress appropriately, have a quiet place, no distraction, no TV, no radio, rephrase all questions if they don't understand, do the recording, make them feel important, and practice. And the last one is to thank the participant. And you should also tell the participant how they can get more information from you, and if they want a report when the research is done. Okay, qualitative research uses interview, but we have something called correlation, and we're in a non-experimental group still, and we have correlational research, and that is a relationship between variables. So it's the current, past or future time frame, and we have low to medium degree of control over factors. And we use it for relationships related to, associated with, or predicts. And predicts is the future. And we study what that this is a study that compares variables. So relationship between the variables. Correlation shows the relationship between two variables. and we get a number from it, and make note of this, it's between 21.00 and 11.00, but there are other types of correlation. So this number is just something you need to listen to once, don't remember it, this is not important, the next number is important. Direction of the relationship between variables. So a correlation will show how much, if we get more money and production, what direction do the relationship between those two do? For example, if we give the employees more money, do we get more products? And here we say that 2.60 is stronger than 1.60. This is really important. The higher the number, the stronger the correlation. 1.50 is weaker than 2.50. This is also important. So big number is stronger, small number weaker. This is the important algorithm. Pearson product moment correlation coefficient. This is really important. And it's written like R, X, Y. And it shows the correlation between variables X and Y. It ranges between minus 1.00 and plus 1.00. This number you need to know. Minus 1 to plus 1. This is really important. Okay, so an example. Which of the numbers are the weakest correlation? Okay, remember from the last slide. High number, strong correlation. Low number, weak correlation. Okay, so you might think that this is the lowest number, that it has the weakest correlation, but that is not true. We have to go for the center, so it's a 0 we are going for. So we are going always for the 0. And here is the weakest correlation. Think of a graph here with y and x. And this is a graph. And here's 1 point, here's 1 point, and here's 1 point. And here's another point. So this might be minus 0.01. It's the weakest correlation because it's closest to the graph. So here, this will be the correct number because it has the weakest correlation. This is super important to understand. So minus 0.01. So best of luck with correlations. This is really important and something you really need to know.